What's going on, guys? Climate data report coming to you here from a very soggy and wet northern New England, where a historical flooding event just continues to unfold. It's time now for the Monday edition of the climate update and weather update for Monday, July 10th, 2023. We're calling it climate update today because, let's face it, this is a true sign of the climate changing right now. I mean, this is just incredible. The system that we're watching unfold in the Northeast. No, it's not a tropical system. Here's the cold front. It's finally clearing the coast in the southeast. You have this upper level low that has spinning around the front, and it's just not moving all that fast. And there was a ton of moisture ahead of it. The ground's already saturated, and it's just a perfect recipe for a historical flooding event that is ongoing. There is weather to talk about in the other parts of the country as well. We have extreme heat in the west. We have extreme heat in the south. We have extreme heat in the southeast. And in the plains, we have severe thunderstorms today. It is just a crazy busy weather day across the country. Let's take a look at the National Hazardous Map. First off, the Northeast. We have flood watches that continue to be up from just west of where I'm at here in Maine, in New Hampshire, Vermont. At this point, Vermont is the hardest hit state of this event. Yesterday, Pennsylvania got hit really hard. Parts of New York State got hit really hard. I saw pictures on Twitter of Route 9W in New York State where it doesn't exist. Washouts. It's occurring up in Vermont as well. It's probably occurring in western Massachusetts at this point. Amounts of up to 6, maybe even 7 inches of rainfall occurred in parts of Pennsylvania. Same deal in New York State and Vermont. Yeah, I think someone's going to possibly hit double-digit rainfall amounts in Vermont as this system continues to unfold. The other story in the country is out on the West Coast. You have heat indexes that could go over 110 degrees. Places in Arizona early this morning, the temperature, and early in the morning now, was already over 100 degrees. I mean, this is just historical heat in the west, historical flooding in the east. It's just an epic disaster, and sandwiched in between, you have severe thunderstorms, which this is only the first day of severe thunderstorms. Now mind, there's been severe thunderstorm threats daily, but it's actually going to ramp up as we head into the week. I'll explain it all. Taking a look at the national radar picture, you can see there's the front trying to clear in the south. You have showers today in Florida. Orlando, you're going to see showers and thunderstorms the rest of this evening. And let's zoom into the northeast. You can see we do have this backside. It's almost like a wraparound. Something I would talk about in the wintertime, where we have this deformation band that is ongoing across upstate New York. And you have 0.5 inch to 1 inch per hour rainfall rates. The Weather Prediction Center is saying that's going to stay intact through about 8 p.m. Then that should slowly lose its punch. But for Vermont area, New Hampshire, the rain is going to continue well into the overnight, and it may not even taper off until tomorrow morning. In fact, the HER model, which I'll show you in a little bit, is showing several more inches of rainfall. And this is very bad news. The ground was already saturated going into this event. June up here in Maine, where I'm at right now, I'm on vacation. I'm here in Maine. From what I'm reading from news reports, from what people are telling me, June was a total bust. It was a washout because of the weather. And look what's happening. It just keeps raining. It's one of those summers where it rains a lot, but this one is particularly historical. I'll show you why in just a moment. Let's go to a radar scope here for a second. There is something I want to show you that's very interesting that's happening right now. We do have this cluster or line segment of thunderstorms. Yes, this is mainly heavy rain, but there may be some thunder within this as well. Generally from just northeast Connecticut through central Massachusetts, Worcester, you're coming up here into New Hampshire, and this is a really, like Peterborough, New Hampshire, you're seeing a really heavy area of rainfall. 1.5 inches per hour, maybe even over 2 inches per hour rainfall rates are within this. And if you look as I zoom in, yes, it's moving east, but it's not moving east that fast. Maybe 5 to 10 miles per hour at best. So this is very slowly unfolding. You also have another area here in the western portion of New Hampshire, just northeast of Brattleboro, Vermont. And yes, this is extremely concerning. The HER model, I'm going to show you that briefly soon, does actually have this filling in a little more ahead of this. So we'll have to watch. New Hampshire and Massachusetts, hey, you could be seeing flash flooding right now as well. Turn around, don't drown. You do not want to drive through floodwaters. Speaking of floodwaters, this is in Vermont. This was tweeted out by the Vermont State Police. They're not saying where it is. I think it may be Montpelier, but honestly, I'm not 100% certain. Please correct me if I'm wrong down below. Look at the rush of water here. This is truly incredible. Look at this. You might be able to hear it. That water is rushing really fast. If you get caught in that, you're going to get swept away. There is nothing you're going to be able to do. Now taking a look here at a river fork for the Winooski River at Montpelier. Now I've been doing some digging around and I've been checking out on Twitter. It sounds to me, the forecast here, which is expected to be 19.8 feet, and that right now is expected to be 4 a.m. Tuesday. That's the crest. That would be second highest level on record and would be higher than Irene. So that is really, truly impressive. And if you're wondering what the first highest ever was, it actually says here 11-3 1927, a historic crest of 27.10 feet. That's just totally insanity. And you can see here 19.8 feet. Here is Irene, August 8th. August 29th of 2011. I believe that was Irene. They had 19 feet, and they actually had a double bad year whammy that year. But yes, this is something we're going to continue to watch. Don't be surprised if this gets adjusted higher. Because let's go back to radar real quickly. And you can see here on radar, I can't show you Burlington radar. I could, but Burlington radar is just absolutely terrible. I wish they would fix it. Here's Burlington radar. Yes, it looks like a chopped up mess, but kind of what you can see here is there is a heavy rain continuing over Vermont. There's going to be more coming. So again, it's not going to taper off until tomorrow morning. And now let's continue on here with the Storm Prediction Center. We'll get back to the flooding in a second. I do have to show you this. There is an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms today across portions of Kansas and across portions of Nebraska. Tornado threat, there's a little bit up across Wisconsin and Minnesota. We're not terribly concerned about that today. But remember, any day can turn into a tornado day. They just confirmed a tornado in Delaware from the other day where there was no tornado threat. So, again, always pay attention. Even the low threat days can turn into a big day. The biggest threat is this 30% area of wind. And you'll probably have a hail threat as well. There's a hatched area of hail across this region as well. Then you come to day 2. There's another slight risk. We could potentially see an MCS that evolves across Nebraska, portions of Iowa, and portions of South Dakota. Then there is yet another threat, day 3, another MCS threat that will get going across portions of the Midwest in Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, maybe even Western Kentucky. We'll have to watch how that unfolds. Some modeling is really impressive for this, and there is definitely potential this could get upgraded to an enhanced risk. Alright, now we're going to be moving back to the flooding threat. A rare high risk is ongoing in Vermont, and we totally agree with that. I mean, you just saw that water, and you just saw the river level expected in Montpelier. I mean, this is extremely impressive. Let's take a look at the latest HER model here, shall we? And as you can see here, we're going to use the 18Z run. As you can see here, rain continues to be ongoing overnight. It gradually shifts east in New York and Maine. You eventually get into the heavy rainfall as well. I want to zoom this into the northeast region because this really is our focus for today. And look at this. You actually do see some heavy rainfall and rain, but look what happens in Vermont. You get another piece of backside moisture that, rotates into Vermont. And unfortunately, I got to show you this. Look at these precipitation amounts. Yes, this is another additional 2 to 4, even isolated 5+ inches of rainfall. Could this be a little bit overdone? Maybe, but another 2, 3, localized 4 inches? It's not out of the question, which again, the fact that this is going to continue into about midday tomorrow makes me think we could see that crest end up being even higher at Montpelier. I don't think it's going to ever become number one. It just won't. That number one that would have to pass that we saw, I mean, that was just totally insanity. It's not going to go past 27 feet there, but again, this is something we have to keep watching. Now I want to show you the GFS for the rest of the week. And look at this. That system finally does exit the picture, but look what happens here. Another front comes into the northeast. We have some active weather in the plains. There's going to be multiple MCS threats this week that we're going to really have to pay attention to. Here's that one for Wednesday evening. I think that's going up to at least an enhanced risk at this point. Too soon to say whether or not it could get to moderate, but I mean, this is the GFS, folks. GFS, yet again, is showing a strong convective signal. Remember a week ago, it was the first Sunday of July, and I was talking about how there are hints there could be a heavy rainfall event in the northeast. You know, from our good old buddy, the GFS, which was going really bonkers in the northeast. Yeah, the GFS that actually nailed this system right now in the northeast. Yeah, look at this. Anytime the GFS goes big on a convective signal, it's a red flag because it's not a convective model, it's a global model. And watch what happens after this. Several things we have to keep our eyes on. First off, yes, another potential heavy rainfall event Thursday into maybe Saturday in the northeast. And I'm already going to say it right now. The ground is so saturated, Pennsylvania on northeastward, expect to possibly see flash flood watches or flood watches go up for late this week, unfortunately. Then look in the plains. You have yet another MCS. This is Thursday evening. And as I advance this, oh look, hello, Friday evening, yet another MCS. And yes, there's that system in the northeast. It's not showing a lot of moisture here, but for the GFS standards, hey, 1 to 2 inches, that's a pretty big convective signal. So, yes, another flash flood threat, and unfortunately, I got bad news. Next weekend is not looking so great in the northeast. Saturday's questionable, here comes Sunday, and look in the plains. Oh, another convective system. It just does not stop. The hits keep on coming, and there's signals that will continue into next week. And look at Monday, or Sunday night into Monday. Yes, another system in the northeast. And then as we head to next Monday, which seems to be a theme in the northeast, where we see these Monday systems. Here's another one that's Monday into Tuesday. I mean, they just keep on coming. Finally, maybe middle of next week, we can catch a break in the northeast. The southeast, you're going to be active as well. You're going to see some of these boundaries that get stuck in the southeast. So daily shower and thunderstorm activity is likely for you. But here's the other issue. Let's take a look at temperatures. And we can see, here's temperatures that were ongoing for today. Look at this, widespread hundreds in the Four Corners region. Tomorrow, Wednesday, it actually starts to spread east. And the heat starts to come into the mid-Atlantic as well. So we get Tuesday into Wednesday. And look at this. You have widespread 90s and 100s, heat indexes well over 100, maybe over 110 for many people, and this just continues throughout the entire week. And look at this, in the southwest, those are temperatures of 112 at the Arizona, California, Mexico border. Heat indexes would be over 120 at that point, and it just continues. Folks, this is historical. This is life-threatening heat. So we got life-threatening heat in the south. Life-threatening flooding ongoing in the northeast, and unfortunately there have been a couple of fatalities from the flooding in the northeast. I mean, the picture is clear. Everything is more extreme right now. I don't care how you believe we got to this point, but as long as you believe something is happening, you're in good shape if you believe that something's happening. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. This is extreme weather at play right now. I do want to show you the tropical Atlantic. Not much going on, but we do have this system that over the next 7 days that the Hurricane Center is watching. There's a 40% chance it develops. It's really disorganized right now, but maybe it'll just cross another name off the list. All right, real quickly, let's take a look at the 1 through 7 day precipitation. You can see very wet in the northeast, and where we have that multiple MCS, maybe even duratio. Yeah, I said the word duratio for the first one. It's possible. It's going to also be a lot of rain with that as well. So precipitation amounts of widespread 1 to 3 inches, localized 4+ inches are likely there. And then as we take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, above in the east, well above average in the south, and we continue to be well above average in the south on 8 to 14 day outlook. much of the country is going to be above average. Then we come to the precipitation outlook, and I would actually chalk this up a little higher than what they're saying. I think you would go with well above average across portions of the Midwest and Plains, and moderately, I would go with moderately above average in the East, because you just have system after system after system, and when you have a lot of moisture saturate into the ground, the models tend to underdo evaporation, which adds more moisture to systems. I mean, it's just a domino effect. And taking a look at the West, Nevada, yeah, well below average for you. Lake Mead, if it's still rising, it's not going to rise much more. 8 to 14 days. Mid-Atlantic through the Northeast continues to be above average. I agree with that. I think July is really a washout for the Northeast. You're going to get a few sunny days here and there, but overall, it's not going to be a pleasant picture. Below average precipitation in Texas, that's not good to see. I'm really concerned about the drought situation there. Then you go onto the Northwest, and again, it's going to be below average, just slightly above average across southern portions of Arizona, and everywhere else in between is near normal. Alrighty, that does it for today's weather and climate update. If you are in the areas of extreme weather right now, especially the flooding that's ongoing in the Northeast, please stay safe and heed all warnings. If you're told to evacuate because of flooding, please do so. I mean, there's already emergency officials out there doing water rescues. There's been roads washed out. This is a really bad situation, and you please just stay safe. If at all possible, if you're in the heavy rainfall, just stay home and ride out the storm. Alrighty, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you know someone who's being impacted by all the extreme weather that I just talked about, please share this with them. Get the word out so they can get the proper and up-to-date information that they need. Alright, have a great evening, everyone, and stay safe.